How do you choose your next parents after death? If you've ever looked at your life and felt like a guest in your own story, like the family you were born into speaks a language your heart never fully understood, like the love you've sought has always echoed just a few frequencies out of reach, it's not because you were misplaced or flawed. It's because your soul remembers what your mind has forgotten. You didn't land here by chance. You arrived by choice. A choice made beyond time, beyond matter, in the sacred silence between lifetimes. If your childhood felt like a rehearsal for a play you never auditioned for, if your relationships feel like soul echoes rather than fresh beginnings, it's not a mistake. It's alignment. Your parents, your siblings, your lovers, none of them are accidents. They are mirrors, messengers, and catalysts. You chose each one as a doorway. The idea that we choose our parents before birth may seem irrational at first glance, especially for those who have experienced deep pain, abandonment, or trauma within their family. Yet, when we step outside the limits of the physical mind and into the greater awareness of the soul, we begin to understand that the choice of our parents is not accidental, cruel, or random. It is deliberate, intricate, and spiritually precise. Our parents are not just the carriers of our physical body. They are the energetic gateways through which we enter this world. Their genetic material, emotional patterns, and unresolved stories form the very landscape we must traverse in order to remember who we are. From a spiritual perspective, the soul exists in a timeless dimension where it observes the patterns of countless incarnations. In this expanded state of awareness, the soul evaluates which lessons remain incomplete and which spiritual capacities must still be developed. Contrary to what many believe, the soul does not prioritize comfort or ease. It seeks evolution, expansion, and the burning away of illusions. It wants to grow, and so it seeks out circumstances that will challenge it, refine it, and awaken it. One of the most powerful ways it does this is by choosing a family system that contains the precise conditions necessary for that evolution to occur. The parents we choose represent more than individuals. They embody living blueprints of emotional frequency, belief systems, behavioral patterns, and karmic inheritance. Our choice is not made in isolation. It is made in collaboration with soul guides, spiritual counsels, and often the souls of the future parents themselves. These discussions take place before birth in what some ancient traditions call the interlife, a dimension between incarnations. In these sacred meetings, agreements are made, roles are accepted, and a complex dance of love and challenge is choreographed. Even when the agreement involves pain, abandonment, or illness, it is never punishment. It is a form of divine architecture designed to serve a greater awakening. On the psychological level, the child inherits more than genes. The child absorbs the emotional residue of the parents, particularly the mother, during gestation. Modern science has begun to uncover how trauma, stress, and even fear experienced by the mother can influence the developing nervous system of the fetus. This concept, which ancient spiritual systems have long understood, is now echoed in the field of epigenetics, the study of how emotional experiences and environmental conditions can affect gene expression. In other words, we do not only inherit what our parents experienced. We often inherit how they responded to life itself. What the soul understands is that this emotional DNA, this silent, invisible frequency, is a key ingredient in its mission. If the soul has chosen to learn resilience, it may choose parents who are emotionally unavailable, forcing it to discover inner stability. If the soul is healing a past life wound of powerlessness, it might choose a father who is dominating or critical, providing the exact conditions to reawaken personal strength. These choices are not made from masochism, but from mastery. The soul is not naive. It knows that the personality, the ego, formed in this life will suffer. But the soul does not measure growth in comfort. It measures it in light, in love, in realization. Sometimes we choose parents with whom we have had past lives. These can be karmic entanglements, where a dynamic needs to be completed or rebalanced. A mother who was a child in one life may now return as the caregiver to her former parent. A sibling in this life may have been a rival, lover, or even an enemy in another. These switches are not chaotic. They are guided by what can only be called a divine intelligence. The relationships we are born into are not random. They are echoes of unfinished stories written with the hope that this time the ending will be different. For those who have experienced deep harm at the hands of their parents, this teaching may initially feel invalidating. But it is crucial to understand that choosing a parent does not mean choosing to be abused or harmed. It means choosing to be born into a specific matrix of energy where such possibilities exist, not with the goal of suffering, but with the goal of transcending. In some cases, the soul may enter into a difficult family to break a generational cycle of abuse, addiction, or silence. In doing so, that soul becomes a liberator, not only for itself, but for the entire ancestral line. Healing is rarely personal. It ripples backward and forward through time. How do you choose your next sibling before reincarnation? When we think of soulmates, most people instinctively think of romantic partners. But in truth, some of our most profound soul contracts are not with lovers. They are with those we are born beside, our siblings, whether they are our closest companions, distant strangers, or even lifelong rivals. The siblings we choose before birth are never accidental. They are part of a constellation of souls who return with us across multiple lifetimes, weaving a complex and sacred tapestry of growth, healing, and remembrance. From the soul's perspective, life is not a solo mission. We incarnate alongside a familiar group of souls who rotate roles across lifetimes. In one life, someone may be your brother. In another, your daughter, mother, or even your adversary. These soul clusters move together across dimensions and time periods, supporting each other's evolution by playing out key themes. We choose these companions not only out of love, but out of necessity. Our growth depends on the friction, support, reflection, and challenge that only these specific souls can provide. Siblings, in particular, offer a unique energetic dynamic. Unlike parents, who usually carry an authority role and represent the structure of the past, siblings are often peers. They are mirrors of the self, born into the same family, influenced by similar circumstances, yet responding in radically different ways. This contrast is not coincidental. It is carefully designed. When a soul chooses a sibling, it is choosing a reflection point, another soul who will walk beside them, either harmoniously or tensely, in order to highlight unhealed aspects of the self. From a spiritual standpoint, siblings often embody opposite expressions of a shared karmic theme. For instance, two siblings may both be born into a family where emotional expression is suppressed. One may become highly expressive, even volatile, while the other becomes emotionally shut down. Each is exploring a different side of the same wound, and through their interactions, be they nurturing or antagonistic, they unconsciously provoke growth in each other. The soul sees this dynamic not as conflict, but as refinement. It uses the sibling bond to stretch the heart, strengthen the will, and break through inherited patterns. In many cases, souls agree to incarnate as siblings, specifically to balance unresolved dynamics from past lives. For example, a soul who once betrayed or harmed another may now return as their younger brother or sister, placed in a position of dependency and innocence. This reversal offers a sacred opportunity for forgiveness, reparation, and energetic harmony. These arrangements are not punishments. They are spiritual invitations, chances to rewrite old stories with new levels of awareness. Some siblings come into life as soul companions, offering deep love and solidarity. These relationships often feel timeless. From a young age, there may be a sense of deep understanding, telepathic connection, or inexplicable closeness. These are signs that the bond has been nurtured across many lifetimes. Such siblings are not only emotional anchors, but spiritual allies. They help each other remember who they truly are, and they often incarnate together during particularly challenging lifetimes to offer mutual support. On the other hand, there are siblings who seem completely disconnected. Some barely speak. Others feel more like strangers or enemies. This too has purpose. Sometimes the spiritual lesson lies in detachment, boundary setting, or the release of expectations. Not every sibling bond is meant to be harmonious. Some exist to mirror abandonment, to test forgiveness, or to act as catalysts for independence. In such cases, the soul chooses a sibling who will play a disruptive or contrasting role in order to stimulate internal growth. These lessons are often subtle, invisible to the outside world, but profoundly transformational within. There are also instances where a sibling is lost early in life through miscarriage, early death, or estrangement. The absence of a sibling can leave a deep emotional imprint, but it too serves a purpose. The soul of the lost sibling may have chosen a short incarnation to fulfill a very specific karmic act or to initiate a spiritual awakening in the family. In some cases, that soul may return later as a child or even as a significant person outside the family. The connection continues, even if the earthly presence does not. Importantly, not all siblings are born into the same household. Sometimes, our most intimate soul siblings are not biological. They may appear in life as friends, colleagues, or even rivals, but the energetic bond is unmistakable. These energetic siblings reflect a similar soul signature and often enter our lives during periods of transformation. Like our biological siblings, they carry keys to forgotten aspects of ourselves, often awakening dormant gifts or forcing us to confront hidden fears. When we encounter them, we may feel an instant familiarity, as though we are picking up a conversation that began long before this life. Birth order itself is also a spiritual choice. A soul who chooses to incarnate as the eldest may be seeking to explore responsibility, leadership, or the shadow of control. A middle child may be working through feelings of invisibility, peacemaking, or comparison. The youngest may be here to embody freedom, rebellion, or to break generational cycles. Even twins have distinct energies and intentions, often playing out mirrored karmic roles. The order of birth is not random. It reflects the soul's strategy. for how it wants to experience growth within a particular family constellation. The deeper we look, the clearer it becomes that our siblings are not simply people we grow up with. They are spiritual archetypes. They are echoes of ourselves, written in different bodies, vibrating with complementary lessons. Whether they bring us joy or pain, closeness or distance, they are there to help us awaken. Their presence or their absence is part of our soul's story. Healing sibling relationships, therefore, is not just about resolving childhood wounds. It is about reconnecting with the sacred contract that brought you together. It is about honoring the courage it takes for two souls to descend into this dense world and play out lessons they may have rehearsed for lifetimes. And even when reconciliation is not possible in the physical sense, it can be achieved energetically through forgiveness, intention, and prayer. The notion that we choose our romantic partners before birth might seem counterintuitive in a world that romanticizes the idea of finding love by chance. Yet the reality is that romantic attraction is often a magnetism based on deep unconscious forces. When we are drawn to someone, there is typically more at play than mere surface-level chemistry. The attraction is an energetic resonance, a pull between two souls who are destined to meet. These connections are often not random. They are intentional, predestined by the higher consciousness of our being. The dynamics between two romantic partners can often seem to mirror the unresolved themes within each individual. One partner might mirror a deeply held fear of abandonment, while the other may bring up issues of power and control. These imbalances are not accidents. They are invitations to heal. Consider the idea of the twin flame, a concept that originates in ancient spiritual teachings. Twin flames are often thought of as two halves of one soul split across lifetimes, each holding a part of the soul's essence. When twin flames meet, they can feel an immediate, inexplicable connection, as though they are returning home. However, the union between twin flames is not always harmonious. In fact, the intensity of the connection often brings both individuals to face their deepest fears, insecurities, and shadows. This is because twin flames are not here to simply experience love in its idealized form. They are here to catalyze each other's evolution, often through periods of separation and reconnection. It is through the friction, the contrast, and the alchemical merging of their energies that they can reach their highest potential. A similar, yet more common dynamic exists with what are often called soulmates. Soulmates are souls with whom we have deep, abiding connections that transcend individual life. These are the people who seem to get us in ways that others don't, who feel like they've always been with us. Soulmates can be romantic partners, but they can also be friends, mentors, or even family members. In romantic relationships, soulmates are often those individuals with whom we have lived through many lifetimes, supporting each other's evolution in different forms. Unlike twin flames, soulmate unions are often marked by a deeper sense of ease and shared purpose, even if they too involve significant life lessons. These relationships offer the opportunity to experience love's most transformative qualities: compassion, empathy, and growth. However, it is crucial to understand that not all romantic partners are soulmates or twin flames. In fact, many of our romantic relationships are karmic in nature. These are not relationships of ease or harmony, but rather intense, often painful connections that are designed to force us to confront unfinished business from the past. A karmikas partner me tukrozni me goldatlan sebeket, gyogithatatlan traumat, vagetudattalan mintakat korabi ele tekbol. For example, a soul that once inflicted harm on another may return in this life to experience the role of the victim, allowing both parties to experience healing and balance. Karmic relationships are characterized by a sense of inevitability, as though we are destined to meet and repeat certain patterns. They are never meaningless, even if they bring deep pain or heartbreak.